sometimes you have to fight harder because those who should be supporting you are also fighting you. Amka ukazane, waseme walisema. So sometimes you have to fight harder because those who should be supporting you are also fighting you. Yeah, think about that. The Standard here this morning says Uhuru turns to God in Ruto money fight, asking God to save us all. Former president says he has been forced to foot his own bills contrary to the law. And he wonders why State House has not remitted money to his office, yet it is in the budget. Right? Here is a picture of former president Uhuru Kenyatta not looking so happy as he stares into the distance. And anauliza, why are we lacking access to our rightful budget allocation as has been provided for former presidents? That's the Standard. And on top at the Standard are other stories which are in their secondary schools which are likely to lose 20 billion thanks to CBC, because now Form 1 will not be in there. They are not receiving that money. So what happens? It's a good system or is it not? There's new systems of education, but there's less money to these schools. What happens then? Macron, big gamble on snap polls. Focus now on flood effects in mini budget, and starlets are back in the country, inches away from glory. That's the Standard. The Daily Nation has here again President Uhuru Kenyatta. Where is Uhuru's 1.1 billion shillings? That's the question. Former Uhuru Kenyatta demanded to know the whereabouts of funds allocated to his office in the past 2 financial years. That is the front of the Daily Nation. State House has denied allegation by Kenyatta's office. That's the big Q. And the Daily Nation is showing JSS tutors who have been sacked 2 days after calling off the strike. Thousands of junior school teachers on contract have been sent home 2 days after calling off their strike. That's the Daily Nation. I'm handling this with Nick Mwadime, the National Executive Director of MKUSA, and alongside is Gatwiri, who is a youth leader from Meru County, where the president will be visiting later this week before he heads out to his office, his international office in Italy. I will let the guests introduce themselves and then we get onto the details of the day. I'll start from my far end where Nick Mwadime is sitting. It's a blue morning, by the way, because I noticed we are all in blue, one way or another.
I think una force issues.
Una force issues. I mean lazima tukwe pamoja man. Hi, mwezi nilikatia nje.
Good morning, Richard.
Good morning to you, bro.
It's good to be back.
Welcome back.
The people of Roysambu are still sending me here. They're telling me the Gadi I'm a feature white.
Feature white?
Yes, from Sunday. They're saying that since he decided to wear white, I'm a feature white.
I see.
So, my name is Nick Mwadime. I'm the National Executive Director at MKUSA. MKUSA is Mount Kenya Colleges and Student Association. I'm also the chairman of Nairobi County Youth League. And particularly, I want to say good morning to the people of Roysambu.
Yeah.
Good morning to the people of MKUSA, and also my good friend Chris Pantinyari, all the way from Roysambu constituency. Wanasema tuendelee hivyo hivyo.
Kabisa.
Yes.
Help me to introduce our guest here. Wewe ndio umetuletea guest.
You know, MKUSA is all over. We are devolved within the 11 counties of Mount Kenya. And recently you saw I brought Dorcas Kagendo all the way from Tarakaniti.
Yes. Leo
I've come with a lady all the way from Meru County. And you see the situation, right? I know you're very happy.
Nick, come on. Welcome.
You see the situation, right? Yeah,
welcome to the show.
She's an amazing leader, and I think she's going to say much about herself.
Okay.
And I think that's a better introduction, right?
Thank you, man. You've done justice to that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself to our viewers here. First time showing up on Biashara Tuesday. We are very glad to have you. And utupatie greetings from the people of Meru.
So guys, my name is Feizer Gatwiri. I'm from Meru. have been said by the people from Meru. Also, people from Eastleigh, they are complaining because of finance bill. Yeah, every day things are rising in matters of. And you know that those people are basically all about biashara. They are doing business, so every day they are complaining on how their pricing are just shooting.
Yes.
So there are many of their clients are in a bunch of like they're diverting their ways from shopping with them.
Right.
Yes.
It's going to be very tough, especially for Miraa drivers from Meru because of that motor vehicle tax.
Yes.
Yeah, hizo Probox Bay inapanda sasa. Also, there's a recent conversation on the ban of Mogoka and Miraa from the side of where you come from.
Yes.
How do you, what's your reaction to that whole conversation? You know, people from the coastal regions, the governments are saying, hii inaharibu vijana wetu. But ukiangalia Meru, watu wako sawa, wame relax.
People are not okay in Meru because since the thing with Mogoka and Miraa, because personally I've been raised by Miraa because this is the very money has brought me to where I am. Schooling and anything
it's
with
a very
business.
Big economy.
Yes, it's a very big economy for us.
Okay. Hopefully that, of course, everyone else has that same opinion. Ama tutaona a counter banning. I don't know if Meru will ban deras from the coast to ensure we have that balance.
You know the governor of Meru County,
Kawira Mwangaza,
my good governor, came out and said Mabuyu.
Mabuyu
is banned.
Is banned in that side.
So I was just asking myself, what is exactly are the people of Meru mumunyari?
What are the tools, or is it a tools?
Yes, what are the tools
they are using?
In that same regards, you know, my in-laws are coming from Meru and Embu County, and I know Richard. There are so many ways to do these issues.
Yes.
To me, I feel that this issue was really taken out of context. It was too rushed because I've thought about this issue of Mogoka and Miraa. The issue of Mogoka and Miraa. Why was it so sudden? Right? Why did we not give a room for dialogue?
Yes.
Why did the business community not meet and discuss this issue of why Mogoka, according to the people of Mombasa, is affecting them?
Yes.
If they are complaining about the issues of Mogoka and Miraa affecting mosques, churches, and these prayer issues, right? Then let them also complain on the issue of cocaine.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the same things are also peddled within churches, mosques, within the county.
Heroin.
Yeah. And we are saying, as the people of the mountain, that our students, our people, and our farmers are very upset because these issues, as you have heard my good friend and a leader from Meru saying that Miraa and Mogoka has been used to take children to school. Miraa and Mogoka is a cash crop. Just like any other cash crop from the mountain. So is it an economical war for the people of the mountain? Those are the questions you are asking people of the Mombasa, Kilifi and Taita Taveta.
Yes, those governors should be very answerable to that. And especially when it comes to the war against drugs, I wonder why it's also a bottom-up approach. We are starting with the least effect, the one with the least effects before we attack the cocaine at the top. But that's another conversation. Let's go straight to the papers. And we see here the Jubilee Party boss, and Nick, you will forgive me for the choice of words, but that is very targeted. Uhuru here, where is his 1 billion? Where is the 1.1 billion Kenyan shillings? We have been treated to a war that we thought had been put out. Gatwiri, if you can remember as well from last administration between Uhuru and Ruto, there was that tussle. Ameninyang'anya choppers, amenikataza nisiende Uganda, amenifanyia hivi na hivi. And then immediately we saw that change of power. There was one thing that President William Ruto said is there will be no witch hunt, there will be no revenge of any kind. It will be a peaceful transition, kila mtu afanye kazi yake. But no sooner sooner had he finished saying that, did we see cars pulling up at the front of former President Uhuru Kenyatta's homesteads and, requesting for arms and whatnot. We've seen the former First Lady of the Republic and the surviving widow of the first president, Mama Ngina Kenyatta, also complaining about issues here and there, allocation of vehicles, threatening of security at midnight, receiving phone calls at midnight, and much more, which President Uhuru Kenyatta detailed through the Director of Communications, that is Kanze Dena. But there was also other issues like the confirmation of contracts of employment that include that of Kanze Dena, who was in also delivering that statement from former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Is this a witch hunt, Gatwiri? Or kweli kuna mtu hajafuata rule of law? One side says they've been submitting everything, that is the government says they've provided everything to former President Uhuru Kenyatta, but he insists that hajakuwa akipata kakitu. Who's telling the lie and who's telling the truth?
I think the government of today is just doing everything their way. They're not really following the procedure, because if it is to do with the 1.1 billion of the General Uhuru, it is budgeted, it should be done as it was, but it seems that since the government took the seat, everything has come upside down. They just doing whatever they are doing per their self. They are not doing it as the way it should be done.
Okay.
Yep.
So you believe this could be a political comeback or a political hit back at President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Yes.
Okay. Nick Mwadime Mwangi.
I want to take you a little bit of history. The office of the retired president was established immediately after 2003, when the second president of this republic, Daniel Torotich Moi, retired. And the parliament then did put up a budget that will support and enable the office of the retired president. And immediatly after that, one gentleman called John Makumi was placed as an administrator of that office. Now, Kanze Dena is saying one Mr. John Makumi has been really unprofessional because he's being used to attack and send a lot of missile to the office of the retired president, especially the current one, my party boss, Uhuru Muigai wa Kenyatta.
Yes.
And we know, this is a man, I told you here before, Richard, this is a man who was sworn in. Instead of lifting the constitution, he decided to lift
a sword.
You know it better than I do.
You're setting me up there. You're setting me up, but true. But a question that is being asked.
That's why you're asking today.
Yes.
This money that is being allocated, because the whole issue here that they're talking about, Uhuru has decided that, my party boss, that his office, due to security issues, has to be close to his residential place, that is along the Dennis Sprit house.
Yes.
But these people are saying no. According to what the office regulations, we need to set further.
Yes.
So they have
an office at
so
Nyari
this is
Estate.
the plan where you can easily come and ambush and put a lot of illegal things so that we say and Malaine.
But they're saying that this house that is at Nyari Estate, former President Mwai Kibaki lived there, and they are hoping that President Uhuru Kenyatta can also use it at the office.
It is very unprofessional of them because our party boss did send an official communication.
Yes.
And what did they do? They decided to respond with a text message. Can you imagine?
A text message.
I send you an email, ICC your bosses, you decide to reply with
tumecheki.
Hey.
Thanks. Tumeona. Thanks.
These people are totally unprofessional. And you know, that's where Kenyans are asking. Because they have been purporting a lot that Uhuru is eating state money. They have been sending a lot of wrong machineries to attacking our boss. And Uhuru is now coming out officially and saying, for the last 2 years, I have not been receiving the 1.1 1 billion that is allocated each and every financial year.
Yeah. So the state denies, though, these claims, and that's why I was asking earlier, is who's lying and who's telling the truth? Because if you look at page 4 of the Standard, it seems we're looking at two different sides of the story.
It is very simple, Richard.
Yeah.
If I send you money, what do I look? Financial statements. Can the state come up with a financial statement
They
to
say
prove the allegations that they are saying?
Right.
If I pay you salary today, I just pull up your
pay slip.
Exactly.
Right.
I just go to look at your financial details. I look at also your KRA pin. And the state pull up those things.
So help us God is what President Uhuru Kenyatta is saying, and it paints a very good situation of the country, even away from his woes, that Uhuru turns to God. So if you replace this with Kenyans turn to God in Ruto money fight, it will be still the same kind of communication. He's asking God to save us all. And Gatwiri, I will ask you this in the backdrop of the current conversation we're having, even on the Standard there. Reject punitive taxes. Hustlers plead with members of parliament. Are we only left now to God? What are the options? What options do we have if the former president says, God save us all? Do we leave all this to God?
I think that's going to be our take all overseas. If the boss, Uhuru, is turning to God, meaning he has tried all means. And for us,
if Uhuru has tried all means,
we follow
what
suit.
about us?
We follow suit.
Punitive taxes. Reject punitive taxes. Hustlers plead with members of parliament. On the final day of submission and public hearings characterized by heckling and criticism, Kenyans asked the Committee of Finance to have the parliament amend what they feel would make their lives worse off. Page 6 has the details of what is currently happening in the conversation with the finance bill of 2024. So when I look at this, we are talking about the finance bill, right? The nation needs to raise more money, and the richest family of the nation also is talking about remittances to them. Will any Kenyan really feel the pain that the Kenyattas are feeling at this point?
You know, when we were going to election, Richard, the alleged situation was Ruto is our Messiah. A man who's going to bring miracles.
Yes.
He's going to heal the sick. He's going to turn water into wine. Because apparently all the bars and the situations at the state house were closed. I'm really waiting to see these miracles. You know, me and you sit here every Tuesday, Richard, to see these miracles.
Yes.
But Kenyans are saying simply, come on, enough is enough.
The miracles are supposed to come because the magic is being performed by the budget, the finance bill. They're saying these taxes, they look bad. The magic will be that they look bad for a while, and then suddenly we wake up to a morning of a great day in our nation. Everything is cheap.
It is very simple, Richard.
I mean,
we had finance bill of 2023.
Yes.
Can we first review it?
Yes, we have reviewed.
Yes.
And we have seen we fell short.
Yes.
Yeah.
What actually happened? He's talking about cutting taxes, because you see, where the other day he said that he's going to cut the taxes of the three main offices: the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the office of Deputy President, and the office of the President. Right. Now, I want you to follow that chain of thought.
Yes.
Where is he going next?
22%.
To the common mwananchi. So, Richard, I'm supposed to pay tax with no money. I'm telling you, this government is making people angry by the day.
Right.
And come 2027, early in the morning, this man must go.
Gatwiri, the budget, Kenyans are warning that these taxes are punitive. And the president insists that, eventually we will see the light. Will we see the light? And can we really term them as punitive before we see the results of the taxes? Given this is the second year of the Kenya Kwanza government. It's only the second year.
Yeah, so if Ruto is basically, we know him as a savior since he came now to the city, and so far now we have 2 years. And if it were to do with providence, if it is to do with adling common mwananchi, if the family of the richest family is complaining, that of Uhuru, what about the common mwananchi, mama boga and the bonda bonda person?
Yes.
What are we going to say? Because these people are, it's like the virtue of hand to mouth. They don't have many arenas to fight to fund themselves. So in the near future, I don't think I'm gonna take the seat again.
Yes.
Because if 2 years has made people to just to quote him as a Zakayo.
Yeah.
So
It's
he's
okay to say.
upside down.
It's okay to say, yeah.
Yes.
Zakayo, he knows, he's aware.
It is upside down what we thought,
Yeah.
and what we are expecting at the moment.
All right, what are some of the taxes you will say are a pain to you so far when you look at it from whether this year or from coming from last year's finance bill?
Taxes?
The taxes that you feel are the most that bring the most pain to you or generally to Kenyans in this finance bill?
The small businesses, because to those people who have small businesses, so as days goes on, the taxes are shooting.
Yes.
So those people are brought to a situation where they cannot manage their bills.
Yes.
Because the money they get cannot quench all that they need at the moment.
Right.
So
eventually small businesses are going to hurt.
Yes.
Right. Kenyans warn new punitive taxes proposals will hurt investments. That's page 6 of the Standard, and financial gurus, diaspora leaders have raised their concerns from Safaricom to the Kenya Diaspora Alliance, all the way to other key stakeholders like accountancy firms, KPMG. They're all crying, Bolt and Uber, saying that eventually if this is passed to law, they will just have to leave the country. We've seen a shutdown of some of those small businesses, as Gatwiri there is mentioning. Copia, which went under administration just a few weeks ago, is laying off 1,000+ employees because of the kinds of situation they find themselves in. So loss of jobs and much more expected to come out of this. The Daily Nation. Nick, if you can lead me with that. Is that the one you have?
I have the Standard.
Oh, okay. Let me just read the title then. Still, where is Uhuru's 1.1 billion funding? State House has denied allegations by Kenyatta's office. Ulikuwa umeniambia earlier that financial transactions inafaa kutolewa. Wanasema that as late as May 15th, walifuel kakitu. Hivyo ndio Isaac Maura anasema. Anasema hawa majamaa walifuel kakitu last month. Mbona wanasema hawajatutia?
It is very simple. You know, government vehicles are fueled at a specific place.
Yes.
If you're a government, probably official at the senior ranking of a cabinet secretary, a principal secretary, office of the deputy president, and the president. Your car is fueled specifically. Yes. Can they produce evidence? We want to challenge Isaac Maura, Dr. Isaac Maura today. Let him produce evidence.
Receipts.
Yes. Let him
Screenshots.
You see, receipts don't lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Atutole receipts.
Yes, atutole tujue, by the way, wamekuwa kekea mzee kakitu. Yes.
Not that hajaekewa.
Let's be very practical here, yes. Richard. And this whole issue of Uhuru finance bill, it's very saddening to Kenyans because the war started at his farm. The government has not reimbursed the goats that they took. We are still waiting. You know,
saying the government has not reimbursed the goats that they took.
Yes.
Who are they?
We know who took those goats. Okay. They said we plant trees, but they decided to cut trees at Uhuru's farm. You understand?
Yes. It's a war that has been building up to this point.
You can imagine. It has reached a point whereby our party boss, can you imagine, former head of state, has to acquire transport otherwise, either by fear of security or by denial of transportation. So we people here at the ground level are asking ourselves, what is really happening?
Yes.
Are they trying to politically and politically, business-wise, economically, socially, emotionally
sabotage
our party boss?
Right. That's a good question to ask, because the final thing was this is going to set a precedence that if this can happen to Uhuru Kenyatta, then,
it is set a precedent,
then who is Richard Okenye?
Because one thing that Dr. William Samoei Ruto should know, that as he kept saying, that power is
transient.
Power is transient.
Right.
And 5 years is not a long time.
3 years.
Actually, it's 2.
JSS tutors sacked 2 days after calling off strike. So this is what is happening. Thousands of junior school teachers who we were discussing about here a few weeks ago were on strike because of delayed payments, because of the amount of monies that they are receiving is too little, and then, and more of contract issues. They went on strike for a couple of days here and there, and when they were back, wakaambiwa ndo hizi termination letters. Wakaambiwa you are out of work with no explanation. And now they're going home after having fought for their... And most of this, or some of this, I remember Nick pointing out, were from Kirinyaga, the ones who actually went out to protest. So Mount Kenya there, again, showing up in the issues that are there within the Kenya Kwanza government and the people. It's a fight, Kenya Kwanza government and the people.
People forget that Mount Kenya led to the revolution of independence of this country. People seem to forget that. People took that mandate to Western and Luo Nyanza. But you look at those who are the forefront of fighting independence. Go check your history. Mau Mau was formed in Mount Kenya. Right?
Okay.
That Sir Evelyn Baring in 1952 decided to call a state of emergency. Because of what?
Because of the Mau Mau in Mount Kenya.
You understand? So the people are now taken back to their roots. That the punitive tax, the salary decrement, the unkept and biased contracts. People are saying it is enough, Richard.
It is enough. Gatwiri, when you look at JSS tutors here who have been sacked, letters have been issued by TSC citing professional misconduct. This is after them being on strike, and they are receiving as little as 17,000 Kenyan shillings a month in terms of gross income from the government to teach a whole lot of subjects in a new curriculum of CBC. What does this paint in terms of the education, the direction of education in this republic? From JSS, this is a new provision in the education system where we have junior secondary school just right before high school, and we'll get to secondary schools here in the standard, which shows that they're going to lose an amount of money which is usually allocated to them. What does this paint to you in terms of the education and the direction of the education system?
The government of today, I mean, they into a place they are making decisions overnight. And in the morning, everything turns around. Like people slept without knowing what is up tomorrow, because as the Kenyans, as the citizens, we have to be updated.
Yes.
Because the government at large is not for the people in the government, the staff.
Yes.
But the citizens, because the citizens and the common mwananchi, these are the people who did the campaigning, these are the people who played the major role. So it is disgusting, because you can't just wake up and you're like, you're being sacked, you've been set a letter.
And it seems to be a trend in the education ministry to make decisions overnight. Them being sacked overnight. Remember schools being reopened overnight after two different statements from the ministry.
It's like the CSs and the people in the seat, they don't know their work, because how can you just be given a seat by the citizens? These are the people who have actually employed you, and you just plant them without updating them what you are up to. Yes.
All right. That is the situation. JSS teachers sacked 2 days after ending strike. I have Edgar Ndege, who is watching, and is one of those medical interns who are also on strike a few back. I wonder what it would look like for him if he went back to work the next day and issued a sacking letter. Is this the way forward? 7,357 number of teachers who have been hired as interns and were issued show cause letters by TSC.
You know, one wants to wonder, was a part of the agreement to end the strike that heads must roll?
Maliza strike, I'll have to deal na a couple of you guys.
And you know, that really infringes our constitution, Richard.
And we have an employment act, right?
Yes. And one thing that I'm totally disagreement with this government of the day, that we have a whole education system called competence-based curriculum that was set without any form of precedent. That a whole committee led by former Chief of Justice decided to come up with a report that this government came into power with no simple plan of how to implement this
CDC.
That next year, beginning of next year, Richard, that the Form 4s that are exiting in different institutions,
yes,
the Form 1s that are going into now the new system are going to find a lot of challenges.
Yes.
Because we are not even discussing the issue about how education is getting paid. Recently, we saw that the government proposed that we pay through the e-citizen platform. And there was a huge scandal just the other day that a lot of money was
lost.
Yes. It's like the system, internet ilipotea kidogo tu hivi. 1 minute.
Kurudi transaction imefanyika.
Transaction cost has gone high. And it is very sad, Richard, that the quickest way to finish a society is when you attack the education system.
Right. So again, I ask, is it deliberate to cripple the education system?
Me and you, Richard, should be very worried because we're going to be parents of tomorrow. Where are we going to take our children to school? How many people are going to afford to go to private schools? Those are the questions that we're supposed to be asking. And even so, let's talk about, right now we're talking about the staffing of the JSS, right?
Yes.
What about the facilities? The other day, we saw children swimming on the ground, right? Apparently, they were supposed to teach or to bring children based on talent-based system. We don't have facilities. It was very sad the other day when just before Madaraka Day, our head of state stood up and said that he has built Bungoma Stadium to the standards where Arsenal and Manchester United
can play a Champions League game. You know
those games, Richard,
Bold
are
statement.
very expensive to have at this kind of situation.
Right.
It's very
That's true. I think we've allowed it too much. It's now become a norm for us to just listen to these lies.
And that is why today, Richard, Limuru 3 is still happening in Muranga. And we are saying as the people of the mountain that we cannot allow to be reduced. We talking about our issues as a form of hate and tribalism. One thing I want to agree with the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, despite his marriage contract with President Ruto, which is 5 years, and it seems to be fading by day, 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling has to take precedent. Because the people of the mountain have been deemed to be very tribal by so many people, especially our sons and daughters. But the other day, we saw the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, converging the people of the Western to meet and talk about the issues. Richard, how fair is it that each and every year that 350 million for CDF is getting disbursed? My constituency here, Roysambu, and a constituency in Northeastern, with a population of almost 1 million here in Roysambu,
right,
and a population of 150 in Northeastern. How are we going to say that we have
equitable allocation? A very big conversation actually that is happening all across, and we saw a few blows were exchanged at a UDA meeting
just in Kiamba
just a few days back, and Kimani Ichung'wah pointing out fingers to the supporters of that conversation. And I want us to pick it up actually right after this, but I'd like to hear from Gatwiri, just to pick it up at that point, the conversation on equitable sharing of revenue, as Nick is putting it out there, that 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. Do we approach it in terms of numbers, or do we approach it in terms of need? The people who are against that say pesa mingi, patia watu wa Turkana pesa mingi kwa sababu huko kuna drought. Wanaweza kuwa ni watu 10, lakini huko kuna drought, kuna easy issues, kuna issues hizi, kuna issues za kuflood, kuna issues za hizi. But then the other conversation is let every one person get access to an equitable share of the national cake. Is that the best way in which you can approach equitable share?
I think we can approach it in this way. One word, we take that direction because we all have needs. So you cannot say, because what the government is trying to do is they just what I think is that they just take a place, maybe a certain constituency, because they have a need, and they try to blindfold all Kenyans, like they are doing well, because this country has needs. Maybe they overflood the places with whatever they need at the moment, so that in our social media platforms they can show us they are really doing well, but every other citizen is suffering. So they should just share equitably.
All right, at that point I'd like us to
probably, let me ask you, Richard, something before we even go to the next issue. Do you know what pay means?
Pay as you earn. You pay it as you earn it.
Richard, I cannot pay you 20,000 shillings and expect you to produce
25,000 shillings.
Understand? That the hugest contributors of the tax economy are the people of the mountain.
Okay. And this is based on?
Richard, you said is pay as you
and
based on the numbers, right?
How many are paying as they earn?
Let me take you slowly. Voters currently, as of 2022, Mount Kenya are 10 million.
Yes.
And a voter is somebody with a what?
With a voter's card.
With a voter's card. Whether you're in business, whether you're employed, whether you're doing whatever kind of manner, you have to pay what?
You have to pay taxes.
You have to pay your taxes. So assuming that everyone is paying 1 bob, how much have you contributed to the tax basket?
As many as 10 million.
10 million.
Right.
Now let us go to the real population of people of Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
The population of the people of Mount Kenya ranges between, as of 2019, when we did census, 25 million.
And 5 million people in Mount Kenya.
2019, I want to assume that the children were also counted, and probably giving a range of between 2019 and 2024, that is 5 years. Those who are at the age of 13,
they are already 18. They're voters now.
They're paying taxes.
They're paying taxes. That's actually the one we are looking at, not their voters. They're paying taxes. Yes. I'd like us to pick up that conversation because the point you want to deliver, I want someone else to be there when it drops. And right after this, I'm just going to take a short break and bring on someone to help us out here to delve into that conversation that is happening at Limuru 3, as you said today, in Muranga.
We're in Muranga.
Yes, we want to tackle that and much more political developments from the region of Mount Kenya. Just put a pin right there so that we don't lose it. But Gatwiri, at this point, as you go for that break, a shout out to the people of Meru and to the people who you'd like to shout out in general.
Yes. So to my people in Meru, we are on our toes to make sure Miraha, our cash crop, that which has made us, that which has participated in our schooling and whatever, the businesses and everything is gonna come into the lane, whereby the taxation is not gonna come, it's not gonna shoot again. We are going to address the issue to the government. Yes, because to do with the curtailing the Mira and Mugoka, we are not going to sit down and watch it. We are tired. We are tired.
All right. We are going to sit down and watch it. We are tired. That could be any Kenyan out there just saying this morning, Unamka tu, we are tired. Going for that break, let me bring on Ojwang Mariam to help us into that political conversation. All right, an addition onto this panel conversation, which is going to part 2 now, where most of it is going to be on the political developments that are happening currently, and maybe just a few of business as well. I'm introducing my fellow journalist here on KUTV, Ojwang Mariam, mtoto wa Mariam, Vincent Maina. Karibu sana kwenye kikao cha Biashara Tuesday. Unasemaje?
Nashukuru sana mzee wa Kenya.
Yes.
Unajua jina Vincent Maina sana sana huwa linapatikana katika M-Pesa. But recently limeanza kutokea sana sana because the organizers of Limuru 3 are not banking on online marketing for Limuru 3 events.
Yes.
Ni wewe ambaye ni delegate unapata SMS short message service every time that tunatoka hapa tunaelekea hapa. Saizi Limuru 3 imekuwa na heated debate iko kotini kwa mujibu wa Busia Senator Okia Omtata. Anasema hayo mambo sio mambo ya kupewa kichwa, ni mambo ya mkia. Kwa hivyo yanafaa yabaki nyuma, ya kwamba regions are not supposed to be meeting alafu mnaongea mambo ya kwenyu. Lakini anasema
mambo ya kwenu vipi na
nyumba ndogo ufanye kesi zao usiku. Inamaanishi kukiwa na giza, haimaanishi kukiwa na giza. Inamaanisha tunakutana, tunaongea.
Yes.
Na it's a waste of time kujaribu kuambia watu wa Mount Kenya wasipatane. Hao ni watu kama vile Nick alikuwa anasema, hata mzungu mwenyewe tried. Yes, he got a chance ya kumaliza Dedan Kimathi. Then a few of us,
but eventually vizazi vipo. Wanasema pia deputy president ni mmoja wa hao ambao walitoka kizazi cha Maumau, yani ni descendant.
Wanasema ama anasema
yeye na watu wake
by the virtue of kuzaliwa ako hapo hivyo.
Sawa. Okenye
siku ya leo niko na furaha na bado nalia. Yani niko na majonzi.
Naam.
Ya kwamba JSS, walimu wa JSS wanajipata mahali ambapo NAT ilikuwa na NAT na JSS wasipochunga wanaweza elekea. Kuna kiongozi anayekwenda kwa jina William Sosion.
Yes.
Sosion alisimama na NAT until serikali iliyopita hiyo ya mkubwa wetu Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta ilipata way ya kumaliza nguvu ya NAT kiasi by trying to empower KUPPET, Kenya Union of Post Primary Teachers. Na kuna kitu kinaendelea na haya ni mambo ya system.
Yes.
Na viongozi wanafaa wakuwe very keen on how they take this law, kwa sababu unajua sheria ni msumeno.
Inakata
na power is transient.
Yes.
Leo uko nayo, kesho hauna. In fact kuna wale uitumia hiyo power vibaya. Utaingia ushike kiti na the first order of business inakuwa ni kusafisha. Wanaitaka kusafisha. For example, when the Nairobi governor Johnson Sakaja, who is now running for chair UDA Nairobi County,
yes,
na elections zilifanyika jana, bado matokeo tutapata. I remember telling you that matokeo ya UDA hizo party politics zinatokea the same day. Hizo hazijatokea.
Nice.
What he did, the first order of business ilikuwa kufagia, kutuosha,
kusafisha
kwa board. I remember by then I was working for Rusambo Liquor Board. Na they say in the proverbial dog word, walitutoa kama mambwa.
Waliwafukuza kama mbwa.
Wanasahau sana.
So JSS wanafukuzwa kama mbwa.
JSS wanaambiwa ni sawa, mmemalizana na mgomo. Lakini there must be casualties. Which is unconstitutional. Because wewe kutoka kuandamana to petition against something or to petition for something is a right that is enshrined in the Kenyan Constitution.
And I ask here at this point a question to KOTU. Where does it come in when it comes to the rights of workers like these ones? Tunafaa kuwa tukiona Atwoli akitetea hawa 7,300.
Hayo ni mambo ambayo tunafaa kuona, lakini KOTU is changing. Because if the KOTU Secretary General, who is very powerful, not only in this country, even outside, kazi yake ni kutafutana na government of the day the president of the day, not for the benefits and interests of the workers,
but for his own interests
zake mwenyewe na familia yake. Mbona hadi saa hizi hajaongelelea kuhusu hawa walimu? Mbona hadi saa hizi hajaongelea kuhusu medical interns ambao walitupwa under the bus na wakuu wao? Na hawa medical interns, mstari wa mbele wale ambao wanaandamana zaidi ilikuwa ni wao. You will see very junior faces. Those are not doctors, they are those medical interns, and they were sent under the bus.
Right.
Go to Secretary General will not tell you about that. Sahi.
Nick,
Yes.
when we say when Ojwang says people are being thrown under the bus, it paints a very, very grim picture when it comes to leadership of the unions that are in charge of workers in various sections. So tukiangalia vile alisema Nat, mambo yalisambaratika because they could no longer trust on the leadership to help them. Now we are seeing the issue of workers and tuoli hawasaidii pale. JSS say that now that they've been fired or been issued letters of show cause, which eventually will lead to termination of their contracts, they will form their own union. Anasema wataenda pale watengeneze JSS Teachers Union. Sasa juu itaitwa Jijitsu, Majistu. But will they still deliver given that you could throw you under the bus just like MPDU?
Let me take you a little bit
to a history class. I love that you're always giving me a history lesson.
On the August of 2023, one Mr. Rajab Mondia was a chairman of KUTV. Unfortunately, he passed away due to illness. On the 22nd of November 2023, one Mr. Joel Kandie, I think Rotich, was made the chairman of
KUTV.
Are you following the history class? I want you to follow with.
I'm reading in between the lines.
To go with me.
Yes.
Now I want you to officially tell you that the Secretary General is the spokesperson of any
organization,
but the power and mandate of an organization belongs to the chairman. So carefully thinking without that history class, who is running KUTV?
That's a good question.
So it clearly tells you that KUTV is in bed with the government of
the day. Definitely.
So, and it's very good that you are a very good
student
of history.
Students. You know where I went to, bro.
And the question begs today, Richard.
Yes.
How do you expect a government proposer to fight punitive
measures from the same government? That's a big of an over expectation on our part. So where do we live? One, medical interns. Some of those who are watching, he watches the show these days a lot. A shout out to Ed Gandege. He's a former schoolmate of mine, but as a medical intern he has been thrown under the bus. KMPDU leaders wake walimwacha, wengine wao walikuwa kwa trip wakienda USA, President William Ruto akivisit. We are seeing here JSS hawana mtu wa kuwatetea. Ojwang Mariam, inamaanisha tukifika mahali kama hapo, mahali hatuna mtetezi, tuna give up. Is that the structure that has been set by the government to ensure, because we used to say, and I think we've had this discussion a lot with you, even off air, that Mkenya atafika mahali afinyo aseme, hapana haiwezi. But it seems from where I sit at that the government has found a way, dunga shimo kwa hiyo ukuta, si ndio? Wanakusukuma ukifika hapo, wanakupush out. Unabaki hapo.
Hiyo ndio wanaita kwa kimombo system.
Yes. Hiyo ndio system. Hivyo sasa ndio system inafanya kazi.
The same way ulisikia last year mmefanya public participation.
Yes.
Mmeita mpaka experts. The same thing they are doing right now.
Right.
But when it comes to the debates pale hivyo, unasikia mbunge wenyu. Unajua sisi mbunge wetu huwa tunamuaddress direct. Juu tuko na namba yake, tuko kwa WhatsApp group pamoja, tunamwambia angusha hii kitu ama pitisha hii kitu.
Tunaangalia mbunge Mwafrika.
Kama ni Mwafrika, mbunge wa Roysambu.
Yes.
But he can't consider that as public participation. And now these leaders are using public participation kama weapon ya kupitisha na kuraba stamp vitu. Ask my good friend wakili Karani, he will confirm to you that upande wa Roysambu huwa wana organize public participation na zinapelekwa kwa the biggest ward in Roysambu, which is Kahawa West. Alafu wewe kama MCA unalipa watu kama 10 hivi. That's about if it's 500 times 10, that is 5,000. An MC will use 5,000 from one ward, another one will use 5,000 from one ward. Walete hawa watu hapo hivyo wasome kile ambacho wanataka kusoma, nasi tupeane maoni, tuseme hapana, mnataka kuunda Northern Town Barras, msiziunde kwa uwanja wa Clay City. Kule Kasarani nyuma tuko na uwanja mkubwa sana pale ambapo kuna ofisi zingine including the national government, na hivi sasa kuna hadi za county hapo hivyo.
Yes.
Tengenezeni ofisi hapo hivyo. Alafu MCA asimame aseme sisi tunaonelea hii mipira yenyu mwachane nayo, tujenge ofisi Clay City. Ama tujenge soko kiwanja kwa uwanja. Sawa? Alafu watu wake waseme
tumekubali.
Alafu wataenda pale county assembly aseme watu wa Roysambu wamepitisha. So the people are being used to rubber stamp
what he wants to be done.
But the public participation yenyewe yenye imefanyika, those details that were discussed will not be taken into consideration. Saa hizi umesikia experts, wanabiashara, watu ambao ni wakubwa hapa nchini Kenya, wakisema hii finance bill 2024 itatuadhiri sisi kama wafanyabiashara na itawaathiri wale ambao tumeajiri wote.
Yes.
Kwa sababu ili tuweze kulipa huu ushuru na tufanye yale ambayo sisi bado tunataka kufanya, kwa sababu at the end of the day kichele ndo kila mtu anatafuta. Si unasikia di Rais Uhuru
amecheleweshewa chake.
Saa hizi imebidi hadi aangalie Mungu. Aseme
amenicheleweshewa kichele Mungu.
Gazeti nasema Uhuru now turns
to God.
Unashika. Yes. At the end of it all, hata hawa business investors wanatafuta pesa.
So wait, are we saying
kupunguza kwa watu ambao wanaajiri ndo waongeze kwa pesa. Watu wataumia zaidi ni hawa walimu sana wa JSS. Do you know how important a JSS teacher is?
Very much, because that transition
ana serve transition ya kutoka primary to high school. Na ni transition ambayo bado ni changa.
Hata haijaeleweka vizuri. Watu hawajaelewa kuhusu mtaala wa CBC, hawauelewi. Mtaani wanasema hawauradi hata kidogo. Now messing with these teachers at this tender age, it's going to mess up our children.
Yes.
And
inaweza saidia pia kwa sababu walimu wa JSS wataanza kusema tunataka muungano wetu. We need our own union. Alafu wapate tu secretary na chairman mzuri. Mambo yao yatasikizwa. Medical interns
pia wao unasema pia waunde nao union.
Kama hawataunda waungane. Everything happens
when you come together.
Good happens in unity.
Yes.
Everything that happens and it is bad happens in unity. Saa hizi if rais anataka kitu fulani, ataingia bungeni, atume mtu mmoja, anaweza tumia hadi Sudi. Anaangaliaga, huwa wanaangalia. Hii matter how is it concerning the people of Kenya? How is it concerning me? Kama ni kitu inaweza leta shida, kitu kama presidential term kuongezewa,
anatuma mtu,
hawezi ongelea kupunguza, anaongelea kuongeza. Hiyo watatuma watu kama vile Oscar Sudi, those that they consider
low ranking.
Alafu kikiwaramba watawapeleka under the bus. Unaona? Atumie huyo ndio waseme hizo ni porojo zake.
Achana na huyo jamaa, si unamjua.
Kuna mtu amemtuma. Tunataka kuongeza miaka at least 2 kama mtu anafanya kazi. But when they want to talk about issues of that are of big concern, they will not use people. Watanyamaza tu hizo zijiongelele. Na hapo ndio unaona watu kama vile Gavana wa Mushamba, she is coming back to her people and realizing kitu inaumiza watu wangu. Yeye huenda anauliza, Wakikuyu usema keng'ang'aini. Sawa. Hadharani anauliza niangushe nipitishe.
Wanasema angusha hiyo kitu.
Na akaangusha.
Kweli. Hivyo ndio tunahitaji. Na sasa kabla Mwadime ingie, in terms of JSS umetuombea, and I like your answer that you know, as they turn to God, vile President Uhuru Kenyatta na turn to God, pia they can turn to a union, to unity. They can turn to unity, and in unity is when they can realize good results. Nick, as you come in also, at this point I want us to unpin pale mali tuliacha, picking up from that conversation on unity. Limuru 3 inafanyika leo na Bukungu whatever ilishafanyika. Swali pia ni kama ni Limuru 3 ama ni Muranga 1, kwa sababu inafanyika Muranga.
You know, I told you what my good friend here is saying.
Yes.
That the conversation belongs to the people, not leaders. It is just that the leaders manipulate the process.
Okay.
The main purpose of Limuru 3, why the people of the mountain converged, because they realized, one, Mamau Road that was being built stopped from operating. Two, their businesses are getting closed day by day. And you know, Richard,
yes,
the quickest way for me to ensure that I have closed your business, what do I do? Increase the compliance regulations. And part of the compliance regulation is, has the business met a specific certificate? Has it met its standard? Can it sustain itself financially? My good friend here, Feizer Gatwiri, she said that she runs a business in Isli. And that clearly tells you that the people of Isli and Gikomba do the clothes business.
Yes.
So if previously I was buying a property, let's say a shoe or a cloth, at maybe 500 shillings, now it's 1,000 shillings due to taxes. How am I going to do businesses?
You're not going to be able to do that.
We saw the issues of demolitions of property in Madare, in Gikomba, and most of our people have been affected. The other day we were talking about 10,000 shillings here, Richard.
Yes.
Have you had even a single person who has received?
No one has received that money that I know of.
How many weeks later that children are expected to go to school without their homes? They're expected to go to school without uniforms.
Yes.
They're expected to go to school without food. They're expected to go to school where they've slept outside.
Yes.
That is why we are meeting to talk about these issues. Not an issue
it's
of
nothing to do with
tribalism. Not
tribal
about
composition of Mount Kenya.
I'm telling you, no matter how good I speak Kikuyu today, it cannot solve my issue.
No matter how good you speak Kikuyu, it cannot help you with taxes.
You understand?
Yes.
And that's why our people are saying, look, I think we made a mistake. That in the name of God, we trusted a man of God.
Wow. So are we okaying, Ojwang, that let then everybody in the rest of the country, watu wapatane, basi tukue na Kisii 2 if it does not happen, Turkana 5, Baringo 6, kila mtu apatane to discuss shida inatu affect aje? Is that the thing we are okaying?
We are not the ones okaying, by the way. Juzi tu umesikia Rais Ruto akisema wacha wabunge watangatange. Wanatangatanga wakienda wapi?
Yes.
Ikiwa sisi wenyewe tukitangatanga inakuwa ni shida. Hawa MPs ama hawa wabunge, they are us. Sasa
Yes.
ni kioo. Ni sisi bado.
Yes.
Kwa hivyo wao hawawezi pata such power sasa kukutana mahali wanataka. Lakini wale ambao wanaweka kwa power, wao hawawezi kutana.
Okay.
What Kenyans should be doing right now is wakisii wanafaa wakutane. Sasa msiongee kuhusu ukisii. Sasa ongeeni kuhusu vile ambavyo rasilimali na fedha za serikali zitawafikia na zitaleta maendeleo.
Yes.
It's so sad that katika ukurasa wa 32 gazeti la Daily Nation, Ruto okays mini budget that cuts development cash by 75 billion. Sasa kukata sio shida, but angalia nini nakatwa. Development cash.
Kukata si shida, unakata nini?
Na ili jambo lita affect CDF. Utasikia tu CDF imeongezewa, NGCDF imeongezewa wapi but haisaidii. Angalia kama kwetu Roysambu. I was asking, nilikuwa na question watu ambao wako kwa bodi ya barabara, kwa sababu kuna barabara ambazo hapa Roysambu zimekuwa ni it's disastrous. Like a road, it's a main road, it connects Thika Superhighway to Northern Bypass, passing through KU main campus to the only vocational training center in Roysambu ya Kiwanja, but barabara ni shamba. So I was asking, mnapewa 144 million, mnafanyia nini? Let me tell you something, Okenye.
Tell me something.
Asilimia 60% ya pesa za NGCDF hazitumiki kwa development.
Tumika kwa nini?
Kulipa wafanyakazi ambao wanashughulikia hiyo NGCDF. Inamaanisha only 40%
is going to the actual work.
Alafu bado utasikia mwandishi anasema ukurasa wa 32 gazeti la Daily Nation, Ruto okays mini budget that cuts development cash by 75 billion. 3 weeks to the end of that financial year. We are joking.
I see. So those are the conversations that should be happening. The financial discipline, the financial allocation.
Wabunge watakimbia bungeni kwenda kupitisha miswada kama hii ya kukata development cash ambayo inaenda kwa constituencies. Lakini ikifika ni kudebate masuala ambayo yanakuhusu wewe kama Mkenya, utawasikia wako wapi? Tanzania.
Hawako.
Wanatafuta kichele.
Wamewoka.
Alafu wakirudi Kenya wanawaambia, mimi sishindagi nikienda hizo bunge zetu. Hizo sifikagi. Na bado National Assembly Speaker amenyamaza, hajui afanye na wao nini.
Tuko na picha hapa ambayo ningependa tuangalie, iko kwenye Standard page 15 on the opinion section. I want us to pick it up there with that, because that conversation also ndo imeleta hiyo rift or supposed rift between President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. We saw in Kiambaa over the weekend watu walirushiana maneno na ngumi pia zilitembea, hata kama hazikufika zote but zilitembea.
Just within sana wange cross waingie Uluyani.
Wangekipokea.
Must be crazy.
Wangekipokea. So pale tunaona leaders. Kwanza acha tuchambue hii picha. Sijui kama mnaitazama nyote. Kama ukurasa 15 wacha hapo Nick Mwadime akusaidie. And we're gonna show it there. Yeah, it's shown. Kwa wale wa nyumbani wanaweza ona. Ebu kwanza Nick, I'd like your interpretation on that editorial piece on page 15.
You know, have you heard of what we call marriage of convenience? So I'm asking myself here, how many goats were paid? And who are these in-laws that received these goats? Because as it seems, the in-laws are not happy.
The in-laws of this marriage.
This marriage are not happy. But
divorce inaanza mapema.
But beside
it's page 15 actually of the Daily Nation, I realized. Not the Standard. It's on the Daily Nation that you have there. Just let me know of your first initial reactions to what that editorial cartoon looks like.
Yes.
Hapa mimi kitu naona ni DP Gachagua caricature. So these are representations of these people, just to make sure I have not accused anyone of anything. This is DP Gachagua on the right, ameshikilia anakata kitu, ameshikilia makasi, na pale naona Lepres William Ruto. This man with huyu nati man anakaa Sudi. Nyuma yake kuna Kimani Ichung'wah. That's Kimani Ichung'wah. Mbele yake ni Sakaja Ichung'wah, nyuma yake alafu Murkomen, alafu we have Kuria CS, and that who is this? First one.
Na kuna mtu anakata maji.
Huyu ni Ndindi Nyoro, si ndio? Huyu ni Ndindi Nyoro. Interpretations za kwenu. Tuanze na Nick.
You know, as I was saying earlier, that these are people who went into a marriage of convenience. And you know, it's coming out very clearly. I only sympathize with the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, that he's realizing it when it's too late. He's on record saying that he entered into a marriage without a certificate, and he did not demand to see a certificate.
Come we stay.
You understand? Now they are having kids who are very troublesome, like Ndindi Nyoro. You see, you've already paid your school fees. I want you to imagine, mtoto amekula school fees, right? Now wanasema mimi sitaki masomo.
Nimewacha.
As a matter of fact, I want to become the father of this house.
Memea pembe.
I know it is very sad because look at other regions, Richard. It's only in Mount Kenya that people are doing this kind of shenanigans. And we are sending a serious warning
That this should not be happening.
Exactly.
So you're saying that UDA, let's not say UDA, let's say there's politics coming out of other factions which are dividing the people of Mount Kenya.
And you know, despite whatever they are doing, one thing that I don't want to disagree with Rigathi Gachagua. He might even form his own party. Recently, I've seen that his United Village Alliance, UVA.
Wanavuva.
Right? One thing that we're not going to agree with him, he's not going to become a party leader of whatever party that he decides to do and still take us back to Zakayo. That tumetoka Misri, alafu Musa anakuja kuturudisha bado kwa Farao.
Anatudanganya. Kuna route ingine hapa, kumbe tunarudi.
You understand?
We're making our way back. Okay. We are slipping back to Nyayo era. That's an opinion also. That's just right there, complimenting what you're saying.
Regardless of whatever is happening, UDA, which is none of our business. If they want to fight day in, day out, let them fight. Okay. But we are clearly seeing that this is a government that, one, they had no plan.
Okay.
Two, there's a lot of wrangles inside. Three, it's going to break in the middle.
Yeah. Ojwang, when President William Ruto left for the States, nilisema vile alikanyaga tunje hivi, wakasema bas, nani yule alikuwa na beef na mimi, tuanze kudeal. And I thought when he's coming back, we are going to see a change, watu watulie. But inakam hiyo fight vile ilianza, it's over. There's no going back. What is your interpretation of this here by Dula?
Shida iko hapa. That wakati alienda, moto uliwaka.
Yes.
Na when President Ruto was coming back to Kenya from US, alipata watu ambao tayari wako charged up. Kuna mali inafikaga when you are kwa vita, unapata kitu inaitwa adrenaline rush. So umekusha kuja umepata watu wamelimana proper na wako katikati ya siasa za UDA. Sawa. So utapata hiyo ndo siku ambayo hadi Sakaja alisimama akasema huyu jamaa amezoea kubuli watu. Lakini yeye akibuliwa
kidogo ashalia.
Now that was being addressed to number 2.
Yes.
DP Rigathi Gachagua.
Yeah.
Acha nikwambie kitu, one time you may want to be Kenya's DP on your way to presidency.
Yes.
Never enter into any alliance without your own party. Sawa. Hizi ndio
shida ambazo zinapata
shida zinakumba Rigathi Gachagua.
Kwa hivyo can I say then that this one man one shilling one vote is his boat out of this marriage?
It's his boat, but tayari hiyo si boat, hiyo ni taitaje? The raft.
Bado haija
kubwa bana, tuko huku chini. Because the one man one shilling one vote si ya leo. This was a provision in the BBI. It is not his conversation.
He's just riding on it.
Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta's conversation and the Azimio group. Hao ndo walikuwa naongelea kuhusu.
Kwa hivyo ndio maana tunaona Raila Odinga akisupport akisema kwa sababu hii ni conversation ambayo alishaanzisha.
Sasa shida yake ni bado hajapata his own topic ya kurudi nayo home. Na hapo ndo sympathy politics zinaingililia. Wamenitenga, nahitaji kuenda Madaraka Day,
hawajanilipia fare,
wamekataa ndege bana. Unaona? Hana hiyo conversation and it's going to be very hard for Rigathi to go back to Mount Kenya and retain it. You know, in 2022 I would say he was new. he will have more money in 2027 than he had in 2022.
Yes.
But he was new. He was given a chance. Kwa ndoa yenye hata sisi wenyewe kama wa Kenya, we never knew kwenye inaelekea.
Yeah.
You know, with Uhuru Kenyatta being president and Ruto being his deputy, we knew hii jani inafaa ishe na 10 yangu 10 yako. Hii iliharakishwa. Ushaikuwa mahali you need a wife. Umetokea mahali kwa meeting you need a wife but you don't have a wife, you have to rent a wife.
Oh, yeah, I
This
see.
is a case
This is a rent a wife Kenya.
Na ashaingia kwa ndoa. Na amezaa.
Ashazaa watoto wasumbufu.
Amezaa
watoto wasumbufu.
Na bwana ashaanza kusema hii sura manze.
Tufanye DNA
test. Was not I was looking for.
They're looking for paternity test.
Na nataka arudi nyumbani sasa with the 1 man 1 shilling 1 vote. That is a conversation that has always been there. It's not new. It's something that should have happened.
Yes.
Equitable share of resources does not mean juu kwenyu kumewaka jua sana. Nyinyi watu 10 mpewe 1 million.
Mpewe 1 million jumewakiwa jua.
Sisi watu 1000 tupewe 1 million bado. Even if you're talking about equality,
there's no equality there.
There is no equality, there is no equity.
Yes.
And politics of 2027 will be based on that.
Here's a final question because it's 9:55 in the morning and I have 2 questions. Nilikuwa nataka kwanza na hiyo ya 1 man 1 shilling 1 vote, which is me as a Kenyan who basi mimi pia nataka nikuje Limuru 3. Mbona nitafanya aje nikuwe invited? I am a resident. I'm a resident of Mount Kenya. I have lived and studied in Mount Kenya region for a major part of my life. Actually, the major part has been in Mount Kenya, although originally I'm not from Mount Kenya.
But kutoka form 1 umekuwa Alliance High School Kiambu, umemaliza umeingia
Kenyatta University.
Ni kama
kazi ndio hii. Mimi ni mtu wa Kiambu. Hapa ndio nyumbani.
Wewe na mheshimiwa the former president the late Moi. Wewe ni the same.
Yes.
Moi was not born for that presidency. Alipata by chance na akashikilia the same way. Umefika hapo hivyo.
Yes.
Now,
so swali langu ilikuwa ni kwa nyinyi wawili wote. It's 9:56 in the morning. Swali ni
I'll take 30 seconds juu najua Mwadime
ako na
submissions mingi na najua pia yeye ataenda Murang'a leo, mimi sitameka. So ako na so mimi sitachukua time mingi hapo hivyo.
Mbona sijaitwa na nitaitwaje? Na am I a part of watu ambao wanaweza itwa?
Good. Hiyo ndio sasa nataka niongelele nikitumia facts. Limuru 3 in Limuru, Moses Kuria wanted to go. He's a Kikuyu, he did not go. Do you know why?
Why?
The organizers of Limuru 3 do not want chaos. So they are inviting people. Only delegates are there. Ndio maana nakwambia hata invites zinafanyika via SMS.
Kama ile wali
kesho tunaenda wapi? Leo wako ACK Murang'a. Hapo ndo wako. Ni mashinani. It's the same Limuru 3 but now in mashinani. You remember me telling you that for us to make it, we need to give our people civic education.
Yes.
Ifanyike waite mahali kwa hall, nilikwambia it's very orderly kuliko kwa uwanja. It's not the same as going to Bukungu. Waite kila mtu akikuja hapo hivyo, wale ambao wanaongelesha aongelee kuhusu their interests.
Yes.
No one has talked about anataka kuwa president or something. Wanaongea kuhusu issues za Mount Kenya. So unaweza kuwa invited. But sasa ni
kwa delegate.
Ukue delegate.
Utakuwaje delegate?
Ukue delegate, unaambia tu organizers. You want to be a delegate. Hakuna mambo ya hongo juu.
Hakuna mambo ya jina yangu ni ya pili ni Okenye. Hakuna hiyo.
I will never be rich enough wa kupeana hongo ever in my life. Hiyo ni kitu huwa nasema. Kwa nini mbona nikupee hongo na natafuta chenye wewe unatafuta? Haya. Jambo lingine la mwisho sikuwa nataka kusahau.
Mwisho kabisa tafadhali.
Nikimalizia papo hapo hivyo. Ni kwamba sisi kama vijana tumeamua.
Tumeamuaje?
Ya kwamba the time is now. Hii yenye huwa tunaongelelea kesho ni kesho gani? The other day I told you that Babu Owino hajapitisha 35 years. He's going for governorship of Nairobi.
After 2 terms as member of parliament.
Uko hapo uko 30 years. You're telling us you have a future in this politics that you would like to vie in 2030 something, 2040 something. Vijana, wakati ni sasa. You don't need to have money. pata akili.
Waambie pale.
Wakati ni sasa. You don't need to have money. Pata tu akili, itumie. Tujifunze kutumia nafasi ambazo tuko nazo kwa sababu serikali ni yetu sisi wote.
Yes.
Sio ya wazee
Ojwang Mariam
au watoto wao.
Asante sana.
Nikimalizia juu najua utaniambia nirudi.
Sitakwambia hata kidogo.
Allow me to shout out some of our people who are there representing Roysambu. We have wakili Karani, Moremi Karani ako Moranga, na wako na Grace Kamau anatoka kwa ofisi ya Women Representative Nairobi, Esther Pasaris. Tuko na Martin na tuko na Chivinjeri ni kiongozi wa Manassas but kwa upande huu wa Roysambu they are in Murang'a for Limuru 3 bado. Nasema asante, shukran tena zaidi.
Asante sana Nick Mwadime.
I think this was a Roysambu meeting.
Yes, unaona.
And I see, you can see my voters are very happy.
Yes.
One thing that probably in just 1 minute I should let you know.
Yes.
When we did Limuru 3, we took that report to Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, to Eugene Wamalwa, and finally to Baba.
Yes.
This meant or signified that we are inviting all communities to discuss similar issues that partake the report of Limuru 3.
Yes.
So the big question is, are we available? Are we ready?
All right. I hope you are. That's it. Any shout outs today, Nick Mwadime?
Well, of course, I have to say thank you to Director Ryan for continuously supporting the people of Roysambu.
Yes.
And we don't take it for granted, as my good friend is saying. And as we head to Murang'a today, let us be civilized. Let us remember this is our country. Let us not burn it. We are a very peaceful nation.
Okay.
We don't want to result as other communities. To thank the people of Mkusa, my national chairman, Faris Jane, our national treasurer, President Eston Maina, and each and every single member of Mkusa, and finally, Nairobi County, the chairman of the youth.
Right. Nina kama mmetumwa kutoka Roysambu. People of Kisii County, did you send me today? I hope. But thank you for everyone who tuned into the show. Thank you, gentlemen, for that conversation, and to Gatwiri, who left earlier after half or the first part of the conversation. This has been Biashara Tuesday. We discussed business, the business of the economy, the business of the politics, the business of the individual, the business that brings money to you, and the business that makes you lose money, because we want to make sure we are mitigating against that second part especially. So when you tag us, you let us know of your financial thoughts, of your financial issues, of any other business queries that you have on the hashtag Biashara Tuesday, hashtag Rise Today. My name is Richard Okenye. I bring this show on Tuesday mornings after Monday morning, Art and Culture Monday, with that gentleman there. Ojwang Mariam comes on Monday morning, and then I come back here on Tuesday for business conversation. This whole show is called Rise Today. If you need us on the ground, if you need us with anything that regards to what we do here, you can reach us out on KUTV_Kenya. On my personal handles is @Richard_Okenya. This week, President William Ruto will be heading to his actual office with a branch at JKIA, because on Friday he'll be at the G7 summit in Italy. He is among the only 5 African leaders who've been invited to address that summit of the world's top 7 countries, development agendas, security concerns, and much more of our relationships with those countries. So we'll be waiting to see when he's back, what kind of goodies he has. But as for me, to you, thank you for allowing this to happen. From my director and producer, Ryan Ngure, and the whole team here, we are very grateful for this week. May your profits be high, but your humor higher, so that you can laugh all the way to the bank. I'll see you around.